Welcome to Toffee Blue View, your source for all things Everton. I am Gerry. I'm joined today by Tom, Terry, and Max, and that was not in any kind of discernible order. So, starting 11, who's Marco going to roll with coming up this weekend? I'm going to start with Terry this time because off camera he was just complaining so much about not being able to go first last time. He just got used to it, you know? So, Terry, let's go. Roll first, man. What do you got?
I can't see him changing anything. Not with a decent result last game. I mean, there is something to be said for potentially going with 3 at the back away from home. I wouldn't be shocked if he did, but at the same time, I think he'll run with the same 11, and I would do as well. So that'd be Pickford, Coleman, Keane, Zuma, Digne, Idrissa Gueye, Andre Gomez, Gylfi Sigurdsson, Adam Lookman on the right, Richarlison up front, and Bernard on the left. I can't see him changing a winning team, not when he needs to build up a spell of momentum. I think continuity is key for the team at the minute, as it was on our last decent run of games.
Gotcha. Max.
It's the exact same. 4-2-3-1. Pickford, Coleman, Keane, Zuma, Digne, Gueye, Gomez, Lookman, Sigurdsson, Bernard, Richarlison, and I'd probably roll with the same tactical approach that he took too. If Richarlison starts to look a bit leggy, put DCL on, see if he can carry on his good run of form. Make sure as well that if you're going to bring Walcott on, allow Lookman to go over to the left, because when he did play on that left-hand side in that second half, he was absolutely fantastic.
Yep. All right. Tom.
Probably the same, but the only couple of changes possibly. Like Max just touched on, Lookman was better on the left. So maybe you could consider swapping Lookman and Bernard from the start. Bernard on the right, Lookman on the left is potential maybe, but give that a go. But the only other one I thought was John Joe Kenny wasn't that bad when he came in for the couple of games that he did over Christmas, and Coleman hasn't been that convincing at the moment. So I don't think he will, but I wouldn't complain if he put Kenny in for Coleman. But apart from that, I think same team as last week. Yeah.
Yeah, I wrote down the same names. I think we all anticipate Marco rolling with the same. We're similar conversations to the last time we did a starting 11 segment. Terry mentioned Kenny possibly coming in for Coleman. And we said, hey, that's a good conversation. But we didn't think it would actually happen. I wouldn't be against it because I kind of feel like Kenny's a little quicker than Coleman these days. And if for some reason Redmond ends up on that side, which if I'm Southampton, I would consider it because of the speed mismatch, that actually might be a good call. And I personally thought DCL held the ball up more effectively than Richarlison last week. I thought aerially he was a lot stronger. It's just hard not to start your leading scorer. You know what I mean? I feel like Richarlison is a much more clinical player. He tends to get more opportunities on goal, and he tends to finish them more. So this is both what I would do and what I think would happen. You know what I mean? I don't know. I'm not even going to pose the question of whether or not Gueye is going to be available. I'm just assuming he is. I know there's talks supposedly happening, whatever. Nothing seems like it's close. So I'm just assuming he's our player and he's going to keep being our player for however long. So anything else that's like in question? I mean,
someone could make an argument for Walcott playing because it's against his former club. I mean, I wouldn't, but someone might. I think if he plays 3 at the back, which I think he might, I wouldn't because of the way the Burnley game was. And our best away performance of the season. I think he may actually roll with Richarlison on the left, Calvert-Lewin up front, and Lookman on the right, just to have pure pace on the break, because obviously a back three speaks to a much more sit and break type of type of tactics. I mean, I don't know. I think he'll stick with the same team, but I just got this little niggle in the back of my mind that he might change it up just because it's an away match and because they're on a little bit of a bounce. I mean, I know the cup game notwithstanding, I think there's something to be said for that, and that might lead to him playing a couple of players who you wouldn't expect from the start, like Calvert-Lewin. I prefer Calvert-Lewin coming off the bench a lot, as he affects the game so much more. But I thought that about Lookman as well, and Lookman's now starting to come in and prove himself where they're starting. So maybe Calvert-Lewin could do the same thing across the season, who knows? But I don't know. It's difficult, isn't it? When you come off a win, you don't really want to change anything. So
yeah.
No, I agree with that 100%. And I seen someone made the point on Twitter that playing Richarlison through the middle takes away all his best attributes, as effectively he's just playing with his back to goal for the majority of the game. I agree with it in part, because I do feel like you're going to get the best out of him when he's naturally on that left and he can pick his head up and he can drive in. But he had quite a, he had a promising performance against Bournemouth, I thought. He was quite scrappy and quite he was in everyone's faces against the back line. So, yeah, I agree 100%. That may play into our hands, playing him out wide and Dominic Calvert-Lewin up front, with it being an away game, because you remember, I think it was Martinez's third season when we just blitzed them on the counter-attack and we won 3-0 at St Mary's. So, yeah, it's a tactic that's proved to work there, but I think we'll roll with what we did second half against Bournemouth.
Yeah, Richarlison's a weird situation, because I feel like when he's rolling through the middle, he gets more opportunities to score. And because he's our most clinical, striking player, you want him to get more opportunities to score. However, he does not win much in the air in terms of he will get outmuscled by center backs all game long. It's just going to happen. I think his attributes are more on the wing, but I think because of the way our squad is made up, I feel like we don't have a whole lot of other options to run in the middle. I feel like that's where he has to go. If we end up getting a different striker in at any point in time, I think that's another conversation. If DCL gets more experience and starts scoring every time he comes in the game, that's a different conversation. That changes things as well. I just don't think DCL he needs a little bit more culturing, the way Lookman has gotten.
What I would say with Dominic Calvert-Lewin is it's almost, you could call it the Lookman effect, being used incrementally, and you seeing him churning. How long was he on the pitch for against Bournemouth? And that finish was absolutely spectacular first time. And that's being clinical. That's consistency. And, you're starting to see it seep more into his performances as he matures. And I read in an interview with him recently that he considers himself one of the senior players at the club now. And, they are all the right steps and, all the right moves to make in regards to getting yourself in the starting 11. So I wouldn't be surprised to see that come to fruition over the next couple of weeks.
They've got quite physical centre-backs as well, Southampton. I think they've got the tallest player in the Prem. Vestergaard, yeah.
Vestergaard. 6'7", absolute beast.
Yeah, he's massive, and the other two as well. They're quite a unit, to be fair. The three of them together. I think Bednarek's quite tall as well, and I'm not sure about Stevens, but it's quite a physical back line with them being three of them as well. I think Richarlison might have a little bit of a battle on his hands if he's going to play against those three big, massive tanks of a centre backs. But maybe Calvert-Lewin might be better in that, or in terms of an aerial battle, but on the ground, I think Richarlison gets stuck in a little bit more. He's very gritty as a player, and he loves the Premier League. He's not like a typical Brazilian. He wants to get stuck in. He wants to really put himself up against these big lads. So it's an interesting choice, but I do think he'll roll with Richarlison over Calvert-Lewin. But there's definitely an argument for Calvert-Lewin, definitely from an aerial point of view.
If they do play three at the back, the best way to play against that for anyone is play high and wide. So that's where you go, right, we need Lookman on the ball as much as possible. If they do play three at the back, I would genuinely want us to go with that front three that I said of Lookman, Richarlison and Calvert-Lewin rather than Bernard, just because that's the most direct pace-like attack. Or Bernard's quick. cuts in, and you can read him every time he gets it. All they need to do is just show him onto his left foot, and that doesn't nullify him completely, but it basically means there's two players on that left-hand side who are going to do the same thing. They're just going to cross with the left foot because Dean's going to be there. I wouldn't mind seeing for a game, try it this game maybe, but Richarlison on the right with Lookman on the left. Not long term, because I don't think Richarlison on the right is going to be as good, but I just like Lookman on that left because he's so much. It's a shame really because we've got three players who are all probably their best position is there.
Yeah.
But Lookman is just devastating every time he gets on the left, and he very rarely gets it because the pecking order seems to be he's the number three choice for that spot behind Bernard and Richarlison. And as we saw against Bournemouth, and we saw it against Man City, as soon as he went on the left, he started giving them all kinds of trouble. So I'd try that. If they're going to play three absolute units as a back three, then that might be something worth trying. Like, just give them a torrid time of them running all, stretch them.
Man for man.
You know, I was thinking, though, when we Max, you alluded to the fact of, the subbing out, I guess, Bernard and switching Lookman to the left. It almost was as though we had subbed in a new player at that position, as in like as somebody off the bench. That's what it felt like. It was an impact because he did have impact from the right as well. You know what I mean? Like, he actually was our strongest player in the first half.
His defensive covers fairly good as well, and I think that's something worth taking note of, particularly if you got Redmond up against Coleman. I'm not in the against Seamus Coleman camp by any measures, but I do like it when he's got someone on that side that'll help him out with his defensive work.
Totally agree with that. One of the things and that's the other thing you lose when Bernard's not in, by the way, too. I have been thoroughly impressed with that guy's defensive work. I thought when we signed him, luxury player, skilled. He's gonna get you a lot of pretty assists, and he gets back, he tracks back often, and I love seeing players play the way you're supposed to, and not be prima donna, have this prima donna type of mentality. Totally love Bernard after I see him scrapping to get back and, oh man, winning the ball back. That's just awesome. I just don't see a lot of little skilled players wanting to get stuck in on defense that often. Yeah, love the guy even more now. So, anything else on the starting 11 segment as far as possible lineups that we haven't discussed? Any other possible subs? All right. So, one last thing that just occurred to me. If we continue to whip balls in, crosses from the sides against three at the back, and they're big, this may be slamming our head up against the wall again. So I'm really hoping that's not the plan. I just hope we have some other attack, Anyway, all right. So I guess that's it for our starting 11 segment versus Southampton. If you've been digging the videos, please subscribe to the Toffee Blues YouTube channel. You've probably seen Tom in our Toffee Blues Extra show, so check him out. All right, whenever you see Extra show, Tom will be there because that's his thing. He's the host. All right, so check that out, but check out his Twitter because he does a lot of other stuff too. He just drops into radio programs and he's just everywhere. Also, look out for Max because he finds his way onto a lot of podcasts and videos. So check his Twitter as well. Both those guys do analysis on the Toffee Blues website, so check that out. Also, Terry shows up on the Liverpool Echo fan jury, so please keep an eye on his Twitter. He'll tell you when he's going to be there. You don't have to just go there and guess. Just check out his Twitter, all right? He'll give you, there's a guide, all right? That's it. We're going to move on. We're going to talk about what is an acceptable finish for Everton this season. We're all going to talk about it. So we'll see. And bye.